Turnpike Sports is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com. Welcome to Turnpike Sports. I'm Dave Weishuttle, and as always, I'm joined by my producer and co-host, Doug Weishuttle. Doug, another self-quarantined week. A lot of online casinos, online poker, and sort of sports betting.
Well, I have to also admit, viewing has changing for TV.
Sure.
Because I'm noticing a lot of the new esports programming that ESPN is doing with the lack of live sports going on. I caught some of that NBA 2K bracket championship that they're doing.
Yeah, I saw a little bit of that.
It was actually interesting to see the game being played with the announcers that were incorporated into the game. They're the real announcers for games themselves. And then you see the two players talking to each other as well as playing the game on two inset boxes.
Yeah, one of our local sports channels in Philadelphia did that. They did a Flyers Penguins virtual hockey game, and they actually had the two Flyers announcers announcing it. So it was rather interesting.
Also, our minor league team in the area, Trenton Thunder, did a game too. So,
they did a virtual
baseball game, yeah.
Huh?
So it's interesting to see how the live sports absence is being filled with some of these new variations on esports and also virtual sports. So it's actually kind of fun to see exactly how these networks are handling the lack of live events here.
It's a strange time, and luckily I'm going to talk with Chris Altruda this week from SportsHandle.com, USBets.com, and Better Collective, and we're going to talk about what's going on in the sports betting world, how they're handling the shutdowns, and very interesting interview from Chris Altruda. And it's been a pretty interesting week in sports, so let's take a trip down the Turnpike. And today's trip down the Turnpike is brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store. Available in over 95 cities across North America, Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with drizzly.com.
Exit 1.
Okay, we're going to start off this week with NASCAR. Now,
all right.
Everybody knows they launched the virtual racing series. So NASCAR has updated their esports racing app. It's called the eNASCAR Finish Line app.
Okay.
This is part of their deal with Penn National Gaming. They've incorporated the iRacing series that they just launched into the app itself, so people can not only watch it on their app as well as TV, but they can also get fantasy sports data.
All right.
And also betting data.
I was going to ask you, how about fantasy sports? How about betting? How does this work into the iRacing? And I guess it does.
It's going to work into everything. So
it's gonna. You phrase that in the future tense.
Right.
You can't bet on it right now.
Well, they've incorporated the data streams for both fantasy and the betting aspects of it into the Finish Line app. And also they've done some things in terms of contests that are going to be on the app itself, not just with the fantasy companies or the betting companies, but on the app itself they're going to be doing things. this is all part of their deal with Penn National Gaming and also Barstool Sports.
Okay.
And Barstool Bets is going to be part of this later down the road when they get the clearance to launch online in different areas. But what happened as part of this deal, Penn National is now going to be a major sponsor for a lot of these virtual races.
All right.
And you're going to see Penn National Gaming everywhere on the virtual tracks, and it's going to be promoting this NASCAR Finish Line app that they're updating here.
Okay.
They're going to be running contests of $5,000 jackpots for each race.
Ooh, nice.
You get to predicting the top 2 finishers, the highest finishers. They're going to be doing groups of 4, that you can bet on and gamble on, whatever you want to call it. Also, fantasy sports are going to be going through DraftKings, FanDuel, all that stuff.
So, any timetable when this is going to be available?
They've updated it now.
Okay,
and it should be. You should be able to use it for the next couple of races here.
Nice. All right.
It's going to be available to download on your Apple and Android.
All right.
So it covers everything.
Now, I watched that virtual race on Fox. Is Fox the place to see these virtual things, or is that what I'm?
I would say NASCAR would say go to the Finish Line app to watch it.
Okay.
But also,
right.
But Fox Sports is going to be showing them. And,
okay.
It's going to be interesting to see where they send all these different streams, if they're going to have separate streams other than the Fox Sports broadcast of all these virtual races. But they're getting a good response in terms of audience on the Fox Sports broadcast.
Good.
So I think Fox Sports has hit on something with this.
It was interesting to watch. They had
very realistic.
They actually had crashes, which is strange. But
I like the fact you can reset the car. You don't have to get out of the race. You just reset the car and you continue on.
Good.
Exit 2.
Continuing along the iRacing, virtual racing, e-racing, whatever you want to call it, Nevada Gaming Commission has approved betting in the state on the iRacing series.
Great. All right.
Specifically,
it's a good first step. It usually means New Jersey and other states will be following along.
Specifically, It's the 2020 NASCAR iRacing Pro Invitational Series only they've given permission to.
All right. Okay.
And just like everything else, setting the odds for these events is going to be in the discretion of the sports books offering the odds once they're approved to do it. Rules governing the types of wagers that are going to be available are going to be disseminated by the online books right now, since there's no retail books available. And anyone who's betting on these races can only do it prior to the start of the respective race they're betting on.
Wow.
So, it's going to be interesting to see exactly what the betting public does with these.
Yeah.
I know NASCAR is a big betting
I started to throw a little money on that. I didn't. I think I did the, who's going to come in the first 10 spots of the race. So
they also have the platform or whatever they call that, where the 1, 2, and 3 spots are.
Sure.
And let's see. If a driver starts a race, and this was made clear in the press release from the Gaming Control Board, if a driver starts a race and a winner is declared, all wagers stand. You're not going to get any refunds or anything else with regards to respective races.
All right.
Books can accept wagers on the winner of each virtual race as well as matchups between drivers. So that's going to be something to look at in terms of other states doing this as well. Some states may not do the individual driver betting. They may just do the race itself. Because, you had Jersey doing ping pong, but they only did pre-match but not in play.
I have yet to bet on ping pong yet.
Well,
I haven't jumped on. I'm trying to still figure out the Belarus hockey stuff. So ping pong.
Thank God that's over with now.
It is.
That was
good.
just the championship games.
I don't think I won one game in that. It's awful.
Well, as soon as the Gaming Control Board announced the iRacing betting was available, four Nevada books started offering wagers right away.
Great.
Circa, William Hill, Caesars, and MGM. Let's see. William Hill had posted odds on that Sunday. They released these on Friday. They jumped right into it.
Wow, they jumped on it.
Well,
I maybe later today I'll check New Jersey and see what's happening there with William Hill and see what's going on.
Well, you got to think a lot of these books are hurting.
Sure. Oh, absolutely.
I mean, lack of sports, lack of anything.
I got to say, I miss going to sports books. The last sports book I went to was Atlantic City down and watching the Super Bowl.
Yep.
Oh, it was so much fun. Oh, I just missed that.
I'm waiting for
missed that.
I'm actually waiting for one of these online sports books to create a virtual lobby that people can interact in.
Yeah.
So I'd like to see that. If someone
you
come up
have
with
to
that.
have one of those big eye.
Oh, the
things,
virtual reality.
Virtual reality things. Yeah.
Yeah, you know what?
Make that happen.
How can you go out and get an Oculus device now?
Yeah. Right.
Exit 3.
Continuing on with our virtual sports rundown, obviously, Ironman has announced virtual competitions and a virtual community.
Okay, Ironman.
Triathletes?
That's what I was going to say. Is that the one where they have to swim,
Run,
a
and,
mile, then bike a couple of miles, then run a marathon,
well,
or something
also,
like that?
You also they do all that, but they also do, swimming is one thing, track is another, and that kind of. They break it down too.
Yeah.
So they have launched what's going to be called the Ironman Virtual Club.
Okay.
Now they had this in the works. They were going to introduce this later in the year or early next year, but given what's going on, they have increased the timeline, accelerated it, and they've released it now.
Let's go. Let's hit the market.
They're going to be doing the Global Racing Series Ironman Virtual Racing. They're going to have weekly pro challenges for their community, and also some other digitally focused features that's going to incorporate into their loyalty program, where you get breaks on prices for apparel and other goods and services that they offer.
Let me ask you this, because you seem to know about it, and are they going to be tied in with like if it's the bicycling section of the race, will it be tied in with, say, like a Peloton, where they're actually competing, they're actually doing the bike part of it, or how does this work?
Whether they use Peloton or not, that sort of stuff.
Well, I just use Peloton as an example. I don't know if Peloton's even
They
involved
will be.
in this.
They will be doing. They're going to be giving their athletes wearable technology.
Okay, so they will be
tracking their progress.
They will be biking, physically biking.
They'll be physically biking, whether or not they're going anywhere.
Yeah, no,
they're like on a treadmill or something.
Or something. Okay, all right. Yeah, no, that's pretty cool.
Here, they're going to have participants will be able to sync wearable and connected fitness devices to this platform.
Nice.
Upload the timing of their swims, their rides, their runs.
I don't know how they do the swims, unless they have an
indoor pool.
Pool? Okay.
Yeah. Some of these guys do. They have a training facility, too.
Wow.
So,
all right.
They're going to be able to compete one another virtually and socially distant.
Wow. Okay.
Through this community. So
pretty cool.
They're also going to be rewarded with merchandise discounts, special benefits. They're going to be doing amateur and professional athletes in this community. So they're going to have a pro circuit, amateur circuit. So they're actually really doing a nice job to keep their triathletes going.
That's a really great idea.
It's nice to see.
Exit 4.
And everybody's been talking about this in terms of when the NFL is going to be starting up. One thing that was part of all of this before the NFL shut down, or all sports shut down, was this expansion of the playoffs that the NFL had been wanting to do from, 8 teams to 14?
Yeah. No, we knew this was going to happen. So I think when the vote happened, it was just a matter of when they were going to really implement it. I really didn't think they'd do it this year, considering what's happening right now, but I guess they're really going to jump into it. Huh?
Well, they have expanded the playoffs.
All right, yep.
And they've expanded the television coverage. And everyone saw they released that the wild card weekend is going to have 3 games on Saturday, 3 games on Sunday.
All right.
To accommodate the extra teams. What a lot of people glossed over, and I thought this was interesting, the NFL, while expanding the playoffs in terms of teams, have also expanded the number of networks that are going to be covering the playoffs.
Oh, okay.
NBC is going to be doing one set, and they're going to be able to stream it on Peacock, their on-demand service, their Netflix version.
All right.
They're going to be launching that soon, and also they're going to be doing Telemundo broadcast for some of the playoff games.
Okay.
CBS has gotten a little bit more interesting here. Besides doing their CBS All Access stuff that they're going to be showing the games on, they have included Nickelodeon.
Wow, all right.
To show a game. And it's going to be a Nickelodeon-focused broadcast. It's going to be kids-focused.
Now, they should have kids announcing the game.
No, they're going to have adults.
No, why not? Okay.
They're not.
Take it the extra step. Why not, Nickelodeon? Come on.
Well, that would,
Jeez.
That's an interesting idea.
Let me tell you something. I'd watch that one before I'd watch some of the.
I'm going to watch it on Nickelodeon.
I
I want to see exactly how they handle the kids' broadcast in terms of how they're going to describe plays and players and all that stuff. I'm assuming they're going to have some Nickelodeon stars commenting on the game as it goes along, that sort of stuff. But then again, this might be up and running in real time anyway. Yep. Where you're going to be actually have sideline reporters and I don't know if they're going to have a Nickelodeon broadcast team at the field. But they're going to be. This is the first time a network like Nickelodeon will be showing a football game, a pro football game.
Let me ask you this. I mean, talking about the National Football League, and we were just talking about the last time we were in a sports book, and that was the Super Bowl. And the conversation during the Super Bowl was, you know what? This ought to be a holiday weekend. Now, this expanding of the postseason, does this push it into the Super Bowl will be the Sunday before President's Day, giving everyone the day off after the Super Bowl, or has that been discussed yet?
Given the current state of affairs, the only answer anyone can give to that is I don't know, because you don't know if they're going to start on time. If they don't start on time, then all timelines are out the window right now. They haven't even worked out how they're going to be doing training camps.
Guys, every time the Super Bowl rolls around, everyone says this should be in President's Day weekend. So maybe I don't know if the expanded season puts it into the President's Day weekend thing.
Oh, if they give Trump his wish, they could start up on time, but I don't see that really happening.
That's up to the medical professionals. So. And today's trip down the Turnpike was brought to you by Drizzly, your online liquor store available in over 95 cities across North America. Drizzly offers a huge selection and competitive pricing with a side of personalized content. Now there's no need to leave the house. Get alcohol delivered in less than an hour by Drizzly. Head on over to drizzly.com and order today. And now get $5 off your first order of $20 or more when using our promo code DRINK19 at checkout. Shop beer, wine, and liquor with
Drizzly.com.
Drizzly.com.
There you go.
Yeah, I was like...
I carried it over.
I was so infatuated with Drizzly. D-R-I-Z-L-Y. I'm spelling that out because, getting liquor when you're stuck at home, how awesome is that? How great is that?
And it's contactless. Okay. Less contact.
Yes.
How's that?
No contact.
Yes. And you can get in touch with us at Turnpike Sports. Email us at info@turnpikesportsradio.com. Call or text us at 609-512-5910. At Turnpike Sports on Facebook or Twitter. Don't forget, head on over to turnpikesportsradio.com and you can click on our smart television button. You can watch the show on Roku, Amazon Fire, and Apple TV. You can also subscribe to our audio through Pandora Podcasts. We're available in the radio.com digital app. iHeartMedia distributes us, iTunes, as well as Stitcher and YouTube.
And stick around later. We're going to have a Turnpike Sports by the Number segment. But then we're also going to have a Turnpike Sports Book Report where we talk about what's going on in the sports books across the country. But right after this, I get to talk with Chris Altruda from SportsHandle.com, USBets.com, and Better Collective. We're going to talk about the state of the sports betting industry and what's going on around the books. So stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Auto Accident Help Desk is a marketing agency connecting callers with attorneys. Providers pay a fee for advertising services.
I love getting my kids ready and driving them to school.
But a careless driver can change your life in an instant, and insurance companies want to settle on the cheap. Auto Accident Help Desk connects victims with powerful lawyers. They fight for you.
I called Auto Accident Help Desk and got help for my pain and suffering.
Don't let an insurance company take advantage of you. Our attorneys fight and beat big insurance every day.
Call 800-757-1255. 800-757-1255.
If you've been injured in an automobile accident in the last 6 months, you owe it to yourself to make this free call with no obligation. We're available 24/7 to help you get the money you deserve for your pain and suffering. Auto Accident Help Desk helps accident victims like you every day.
Call 800-757-1255. 800-757-1255. That's 800-757-1255.
Free stuff is awesome, but free stuff that will spice up your bedroom is even better. Just go to adamandeve.com and select almost any one item for 50% off, and then we'll load on the free stuff. Just enter this very exclusive code, BABE16 at checkout, and you'll get 10 tantalizing free gifts, including a sexy item for him, a special toy for her, and a third item you'll both enjoy. And 6 extra special bonus items that are sure to rev your engine, pique your curiosity, and even blow you away. Plus, free shipping! Always sent in discreet packaging. Go to adamandeve.com now. Get 50% off plus the 10 free gifts when you enter the exclusive offer code BABE16. That's BABE16, because without it, no free stuff. That's BABE16 at adamandeve.com.
Welcome back to Turnpike Sports. You know, the sports betting and gambling industry is going through one of its most unique times in history. There are new states jumping into the sports betting market just in time when there aren't a lot of things to bet on. The entire sports betting landscape has changed, and to keep us up to date about what's going on, we're going to talk with Chris Altruda from SportsHandle.com and Better Collective. Chris, thanks for coming on.
Hey, thanks for having me on. I appreciate it.
I got to tell you, speaking of states that jumped into the sports betting marketplace, and for weeks I was looking forward to see what was happening in Illinois, and I thought they were going to make a big splash in the industry, and I still think they're going to make a big splash in the industry. But tell me a little bit the sports betting market in Illinois. What can we expect, and what's it going to look like in that state?
I agree with the sense that there is a high-end potential for the sports betting market in Illinois. Right now, before everything went black, there were 2 casinos that had been provisionally approved to accept bets. One was Rivers Casino in Des Plaines, which is right outside of O'Hare Airport on the outskirts of Chicago, and the other was the Argosy in Alton, which is close to St. Louis. So you had 2 casinos essentially on the opposite sides of the state next to major cities that were ready to make a dent. There were another 3 that were approved but had not gotten provisionary okay to accept wagers, and there were a couple more in the applicant pipeline. But there is, between the 10 casinos that exist and the 6 that they want to have as part of the gaming bill they passed last summer, there is definitely a high-end potential here for sports betting to take off.
Now, when we're talking about sports betting in Illinois, are we talking about both retail and mobile?
No, and that's the key caveat, because one of the things that happened, this dates back to 2015, was there was a point where the daily fantasy sites kind of ran lawless, for lack of a better word, because there was no definition on whether it was gambling or not. And eventually the state attorney general ruled that the DFS was in fact gambling and therefore illegal. So as the gaming bill moved through various states of the General Assembly, there was a very hard push from Rivers Casino to create this, what essentially became called a penalty box provision, to keep DraftKings and FanDuel out of the market so that the other casinos can actually build an online market. Originally, that ban was going to be 3 years, and DraftKings and FanDuel completely rebelled against it, and it got to the point where they were actually taking out commercial airtime in the Chicago market to campaign against this. And eventually Governor Pritzker had to come in, step in between the sides, and they reached a compromise of sorts where it is where the online an online-only license could not be applied for until 18 months after the first bet was accepted. And technically the clock is going now because that first bet was accepted March 9th. So we're like 3 weeks into this 18-month penalty box, and it essentially becomes a 21-month penalty box when you look at the application process and the average turnaround time from the Illinois Gaming Board.
You know, I find that fascinating about the 18-month waiting period. Again, go over the rationale for that, and also, was there ever a threat from any sportsbook operator that they could potentially take this to court?
I'm not sure if there was a potential to take it to court per se. The ban itself, I mean, the major push came from Rivers Casino, which is associated with Bet Rivers and is now also owned by a majority stake is owned by Churchill Downs, which is another part of the Palace intrigue here that makes it so interesting. But they were the primary push behind the penalty box, and they're going to likely have their app released at some point during 2020 once everything, when everything comes back online. And they will have the early part. The Argosy is teamed up with Penn National Gaming, which would have been its own, kind of unique subset, because I think it would have been the highest profile since the Barstool Sports purchase stake. So that would have been a unique set of its own to draw bettors in terms of that app as well. So I don't know exactly how it's going to shake out, but it's going to be interesting to see how many of these existing casinos pair up with sportsbooks and then how fast they can turn around and put an app out there in that 18-month interim.
One of the most interesting things I read about getting around this 18-month waiting period is what FanDuel is doing. Are they attempting to buy a racetrack in the state?
Supposedly they are considering buying Fairmont, which is one of the 3 horse tracks in the state, the other 2 being Arlington Park and Hawthorne. Hawthorne right now is closed for the season because they are renovating ahead of what is expected to be a full-on Racino license that comes with sports betting. They have not done anything official yet, but that is the expectation. Arlington Park, which is also owned by Churchill Downs, is a unique set in the fact that they were originally expected to go on for a full Racino license when the gaming bill was passed, and then backtracked about 2 months later, citing the high tax rate, and are expected to only pursue a sports betting license, which would make it look almost like the Monmouth Park model. Mm-hmm. That caused a great deal of agitation, for lack of a better term, because right now Arlington Park and the jockeys who race there do not have an agreement for the racing season, as they battle over overnight purse size. And the expectation was Arlington was going to file for the Racino, which would have made the purse whole. There's a process here called recapture, in which if the amount of betting does not hit X amount of dollars, and there's a formula involved, it's somewhat arcane and tough to describe, but the bottom line is the track is able to recoup funds that come out of the purse. So there's been a very intense back and forth about this for now almost 3.5 months, because the deal was supposed to be signed on the new year, and they're technically in violation of the law. There was a law change that said they all had to be signed by January 1st of this year, and right now that's the one that's not. So there's a very tense situation here, because it's almost as if Churchill Downs is kind of squeezing Arlington to make sure that Rivers Casino continues to operate hand over fist. To go back to Fairmont, with FanDuel, it's an interesting play if it winds up being true, because the straight sports betting license here is $10 million. And I forget the exact amount of numbers available, but they're $10 million. An online-only license here is $20 million, and there's only 3 of those available. So the fact that FanDuel considers buying a racetrack and paying $10 million to be a better sunk cost, if that's the best way to describe it, as opposed to sitting out this 18-month ban and paying the $20 million, it's an interesting play if it does work. I don't know whether or not they can recoup that $10 million in whatever time period comes back, should it come to fruition, because they are an applicant but it did not say whether or not they were, Fairmont was applying on behalf of Fairmont at this point. So it's an interesting play all the same.
Do you think if this does work with regard to FanDuel, is this going to be the model for other sportsbook operators for entering Illinois?
I don't think so, only because there's a finite amount of online licenses available. There's only 3. So, or non-tethered online licenses. I think a lot of it has to come with the 6 casinos they want to build in the state in addition to the 10 that exist. Like Hollywood casinos in Aurora and Joliet already are approved. There's one in Elgin, Grand Victoria Casino, also approved. Those 3 are waiting for provisionary okays. And what's surprising to a degree is that there have only been 7, there was almost an expectation that everyone was going to do this right away. And the fact that there's only 7 total applicants, even the ones that have been okayed, is somewhat surprising considering how, the aggressive timeline, even, the way Pritzker earmarked the bill in terms of estimates, we're going to get, between $58 and $82 million, in the budget and so on and so forth. So you would have thought there'd be a little more aggressiveness. Now, one of the other problems was that one of the 6 sites that they planned for is a casino in downtown, which it's in theory should make money hand over fist.
Sure.
However, they came back with the first economic study, and they determined that it was pretty much non-feasible because the effective tax rate, not the actual, but the effective tax rate on that casino was 72%.
Wow.
Which is just a mind-blowing number.
Unbelievable.
Even by Chicago standards, when you factor shenanigans in here.
Yeah. Another interesting state that just got started in sports betting is Michigan. I know Michigan had a sweeping gambling expansion law enacted. What does sports betting in Michigan look like? Is it retail and mobile, or what can we expect from Michigan?
Michigan's mobile timeline looks to be a little better than Illinois'. It's not likely going to be available until 2021, but at the same time, it looks like there are machinations to put at least the process in motion so that when 2021 rolls around, these casinos will be able to offer it. In some ways, it's similar to Illinois. That there were the 3 Detroit casinos, I believe, that were ready to go before everything got shut down. It's a little similar, a little different, but I think in terms of mobile, they might be a little further along based on the legislation because they didn't have to hold anyone back like Illinois felt they needed to do. So I think they're a little ahead of the game. The other problem is both of these states really have to deal with Indiana, which is kind of surprising. Indiana, to its credit, has been one of the most nimble states when it comes to not only regulation and bringing in all the online services, because 80% of that market is 80% of that handle is online, and they did about $180 million in overall handle last month. But the gaming commission there, to its credit, is very nimble. It's very flexible. They listen to the books based on the fact they seem to be adding an offering almost every day, without fail, at least twice a week. My email, my automated update, invariably shows up in my inbox, and just go in there and see what they've done now. So, and one of the things about Chicago with Illinois is that you do have rivers, which is fine, and what I was curious about is whether or not people on the south side of the suburbs are going to make that trip across town, or whether or not they're just going to cross into the border in Indiana, maybe pull over on the side of the road, make their bet online, and then just drive home.
Let me ask you something about Illinois and Michigan. Do they have a rule that bettors cannot place bets on colleges and university in the states? Because I got to tell you, I'm sitting here in New Jersey, and I ask every state that. And I know everyone was going to ask the question. If March Madness actually occurred, everyone was looking at each other and saying, in New Jersey, what would we do if Rutgers and Seton Hall made a run for it? But so do they have these rules that you cannot place bets on colleges and universities in the state?
Michigan, you can bet on the college team.
Okay.
Illinois, you can't. And what made Illinois fun, we were joking about this. Illinois has 13 Division I basketball programs. Now, granted, a good portion of them are, in mid-major conferences. Bradley was in the tournament already, so they from the Missouri Valley. Illinois was going to get in, so that's a Big Ten. Northwestern, a Big Ten school. So you had a couple of large ones, but you had this patchwork of the directional schools in scattered conferences, throughout the land. But Illinois, I think they came out and said they were not going to let it, similar to New Jersey. Michigan had no problems putting it out for in-state college teams. So in some ways it's a little disappointing, but I think it's going to matter more in college football season, because college football is a big thing in the Midwest. I mean, it's, and being from the East Coast originally, it's still jarring to see how big college football is. Not even just everyone in Chicago is a great melting pot of Big Ten. There are Big Ten bars throughout the city, and there is a definite affinity for it. And to have that market somewhat curtailed by not betting on Illinois games during conference season it's going to be a hassle. But it's that's the market I think that would have had the biggest explosion coming out. I think for college football, I think there's going to be very active interest in it here, and in Michigan alone, just because of the two flagship schools.
And that was part one of my interview with Chris Altruda from SportsHandle.com and Better Collective. Next week we're going to have part two, so you don't want to miss that. Stick around; we'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
Sometimes life is wonderful, and sometimes it's not. Cherish the good, but always be prepared for life's challenges. At Private Healthcare, we provide the peace of mind you deserve. With Private Healthcare, you'll get the coverage you want and healthcare you need. If your employer doesn't supply healthcare coverage and you don't qualify for Medicare or Medicaid, you need to give us a call right now. Private healthcare is private health insurance for ages 65 and under with medical, dental, vision, and even prescription coverage. When life comes at you unexpectedly, you need to be ready, and health insurance is your financial safety net. If you're looking for health coverage at the best price and your annual household income is $35,000 or more, give us a call at 800-231-9279. That's 800-231-9279. 800-231-9279.
The Turnpike Sports Book Report.
And the Turnpike Sports Book Report is brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sports book. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE. That's PIKE. And you get a risk-free bet up to $300 and $20 bonus dollars at BorgataCasino.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER.
Okay, not many sportsbook revenue numbers to talk about this week because there's really not much going on.
Nope.
A lot of this is going to be legislative or scheduling, all that stuff. But let me do Rhode Island. Rhode Island's sports betting revenue was released for February. They totaled in revenue $2.3 million. All
right.
Up from a loss of $890,000 last year at that time in February.
Let me ask you something. I think Rhode Island is one of those states where if you have an app, a sports betting app, the mobile app, in order to sign up for it, you have to physically be present in the sports book in Rhode Island. They got to change something like that. They really have
clarification on that.
Yeah.
You can start the registration process anywhere.
Yeah, but
to complete it, you need to go in person to one of the shuttered casinos.
In Rhode Island.
Yeah.
So I hope they start changing that. And I hope states see the insanity of that rule.
At some point they will, but
so.
Right now everything is as is. Their in-person registration, and they also reported the lottery. The Rhode Island lottery reported, I think something like it was only 35% of people who started their registration completed it. Mm-hmm. So their traffic numbers aren't even what they expected it to be, even before the shutdown happened. They had also the revenue of $2.3 million is almost $1 million lower than January's revenue. So they were heading down anyway before all this shutdown. Mm-hmm. Twin River and Lincoln had the highest revenue of $1.5 million. Moving over to New Jersey, The Division of Gaming Enforcement reported that the release of the fourth quarter of 2019 and also the annual reports of revenue those reports are going to be delayed.
No, yeah.
Casinos don't have to file these until April 30th.
I absolutely understand that move.
Yep.
I'm sure you're going to see that in other states too.
And once they're filed on April 30th, those will be made public on May 7th. They are still going to be releasing the March revenues on April 12th. So they're still on track for releasing the March revenue numbers, but the annual numbers and the fourth quarter numbers of last year will be delayed. Colorado is still moving ahead with their sports betting plans. They just approved 32 more licenses. They have a total of, they had 64 casinos, sports books, and online sportsbook applications submitted as of April 1st. So what they are doing...
It's nice to see they're still moving forward.
Well, they made the statement May 1st is still their target date.
Really? Oh, okay.
I don't know what they're going to be able to bet on if they launch. That can change.
Yeah.
I mean, we saw what happened in D.C.
I would assume everything's fluid right now with regard to the sports betting releases and things like that.
Yeah, because like I said, D.C. had delayed theirs indefinitely.
Yeah, D.C. was May 1st.
D.C.
Right?
No, D.C. was in
late
April.
Yeah. May 1st. Okay,
yeah.
They just pushed.
They
everything
pushed
out.
it indefinitely back because that's still during the shutdown. I think it's April 30th is the target date for a lot of shutdowns. I know Massachusetts extended their casino shutdown to May 4th.
Yep.
So, but that could change. The May 1st date is still on the books for launch of Colorado. Over in New York, Governor Cuomo had finalized the state budget without expanding New York sports betting. So there will be no expansion of sports betting right now for the foreseeable future.
I think they have other things on their plate, so it's good they concentrate on what they're doing right now.
Well, everyone's waiting until the June 1st gaming market study to be released and see exactly what those numbers are before they approach sports betting again.
Sure.
They were actually talking about expanding sports betting and gambling to the downstate casinos to generate $1.5 billion in additional revenue. But, again, things happened.
Yep.
And over in South Dakota, even though they passed a sports betting ballot measure in that state, and it'll appear on the 2020 ballot when they vote this time around in that state, even if they approve it, you're still almost a year out from sports betting in South Dakota. Mm-hmm. They have to still come up with another law for the 2021 session to determine further parameters of sports betting, including online access and tax rates. So all they're doing is testing the waters in terms of what the public wants. No guarantee you have sports betting at least for another 2 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, but that's the little quick roundup of this week's book report.
And the Turnpike Sports Book Report was brought to you by BorgataSports.com. Your favorite casino is now your favorite sports book. Available anywhere in New Jersey, BorgataSports.com. Sign up at BorgataSports.com using our promo code PIKE. That's PIKE. And you get a risk-free bet up to $300 and 20 bonus dollars at BorgataCasino.com. Must be 21 years or older and in New Jersey to place a bet. Terms and conditions apply. Gambling problem? Call 1-800-GAMBLER. Stick around because after this, we have our Turnpike Sports By the Number segment. So stick around. We'll be right back with more Turnpike Sports.
We'll get right back to the show, but I want to take a minute to talk to you about Bean Genius. How would you like your coffee delivered right to your door every month, maybe 2 times a month? Well, now that can happen with Bean Genius. Bean Genius sells freshly roasted coffee from some of the best independent coffee roasters in the country at BeanGenius.com. And Bean Genius actually learns their customers' individual taste preferences, then suggests future coffee blends for them. Well, how do they do that? Well, this is the cool thing about Bean Genius. Over at BeanGenius.com, they use an algorithm which learns the coffee flavors you like and then pairs up what you like with the coffee that they have in stock. And it's all based upon you. Every time you order, the system learns. The system learns your preferences as you go along and order more and more coffee. And now, all our listeners at Turnpike Sports can get a special offer. You head on over to BeanGenius.com/subscription, and you'll be able to get 10% off your purchase when you use our promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E, at checkout. That's 10% off at BeanGenius.com/subscription with promo code PIKE, P-I-K-E. BeanGenius.com, the smart specialty coffee subscription service. And welcome back to Turnpike Sports. We're here in the Turnpike Sports By the Numbers segment, where we let the numbers tell the story.
Yeah, I know. I always like this segment.
It's always interesting to find certain statistical anomalies or numbers that can relate to.
Hey,
a lot of people can relate to.
Gambling's a numbers business. So
are sports.
Yep.
All right, first number, 32. And we just talked about this.
Yeah. Oh, is that the Colorado?
The number of additional licenses handed out by Colorado.
That's additional licenses.
Yes.
Wow.
They have, like I said, they had 64 applications submitted as of April 1st. They had already done a slew of licenses before the shutdown. They just had another meeting recently where they approved a whole bunch of others. So again, they're looking at May 1st launch, and that could change. But they are planning on continuing on as is right now. They're still going to be granting more and more licenses. More and more casinos are going to be getting them, more and more online bettors. As a matter of fact, a lot of different sports books have already gotten approval to enter into the market once it launches. You have Fox Bet, PointsBet, Caesars, I think, has an application in the works there. A lot of the retail casinos are looking at building sports books, when they reopen. For retail.
Okay.
Next number, 156.39.
Okay.
That's not dollars and cents.
All right. What is it?
That's the number of points the Association of Gaming Equipment Manufacturers Index plummeted in March of 2020.
Wow.
It fell 312 points. 33% drop from February of 2020.
Well, yeah, in actuality, that is dollars and cents, meaning it's dropping. So, yeah,
that translates into dollars and cents.
Yeah, it certainly does.
12 of the 13 member companies of this index reported significant declines of their stock prices as global markets reacted to the gaming industry shutdown. You've got historic unemployment, a widening economic freeze due to the pandemic, and a lot of places are seeing that maybe this is going to take a little longer to dig out of.
Sure, I think so. I'm curious about how quickly people will be going back to the casinos when they reopen. I mean, certainly...
We had Macau reopen.
Yeah, but, they had safety procedures going on. You have to wear a mask. I think they take temperatures before you go in, and I don't think you can eat or drink at the gaming tables. And I'm curious to see if casinos in this country do the same thing.
Well, a lot of reports out of Macau are saying that they haven't gotten the customers back in the volume that they expected.
Well, a lot of people will be...
They're hesitant.
First off, not a lot of people will want to spend money right away. Number two, people aren't going to want to, sit at the gaming table so close to strangers right now and handle chips and cards and money. And so it's going to take a little while for people to get back in the swing of things.
And also in certain areas of this country, a lot of people are getting used to the online gaming.
Yeah, I know.
So it'll be interesting to see. I enjoy going to the casinos.
Oh, yeah, no. There's nothing like watching a sporting event at a sports book.
Or just in a casino.
Yeah, it's great. So. And, casinos have some of the best restaurants, too. So
that's true.
I'm missing going out and eating at a casino.
So we'll see exactly what happens when everything reopens.
Yeah.
Last number of the week, $400 billion.
Oh, I don't even know what that is.
The total estimated number of minutes streamed to television by U.S. consumers in the first 3 weeks of March of this year.
Wow. Boy.
I mean, you're seeing binge watching like you wouldn't believe.
Yeah, no. I know some cable, I think HBO is putting out their their popular series for free. I mean, people who haven't seen The Sopranos can probably see The Sopranos for free now. So
all the apps that are on the Roku devices and the Apple stuff. I mean, you're seeing a lot of streaming. You're seeing a lot of on-demand watching.
Yep.
And that's a byproduct of what's going on with the social distancing and the quarantining. I think I saw on Twitter, one of their newest hashtags people are using is quarantine and chill.
Yeah, I guess.
So sort of like that takeoff on the Netflix and chill thing.
Yep.
So people are watching a lot of TV besides working from home. So keep it up. Let's keep doing the social distancing because that's the only thing that's helping us get through all this.
And that'll do for us. I want to thank Chris Altruda for coming on. That was part one of my interview. Part two of my interview will be next week. Chris is from SportsHandle.com, USBets.com, and Better Collective. So a special thank you to him.
And a fellow Jets fan.
My brother talked to him after the interview about the Jets. So it was...
we commiserated.
Yeah, right. Well, that'll do it for us. Stay home, stay safe, and we'll see you next time on the Turnpike.